right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about getting rid of your crutches. Get rid of that proverbial chair, okay? Now, what do I mean by get rid of that chair? Okay, get rid of your chair. It's actually quite simple, really. When you get into a state of comfortability, you tend to become laxed in your sorcery, in your practices. So you want to get rid of that stagnation. And it's very, very interesting how we do that. And so how do we go about doing this? The first thing you got to understand is that if you're doing rituals in a chair, you don't want one that's so comfortable that you literally can doze off in. No. You want a chair that is going to keep you focused. It's going to keep you semi-conscious. That means that if you're sitting Indian style in a chair, your back is going to be straight so that you have a perfect alignment with the chakras. You're able to lower your head into a state of meditation if that is what you do. You can keep your head up through meditation. Same thing. The positioning of your arms, the relaxation, it's all good. It really is. It is all good in that department as long as you're not comfortable, as long as you're not falling asleep. For hundreds of thousands of years, practitioners never had chairs. They were always on the ground. Sorcerers like to use seals, sigils, alphabets, things that the mundane world has come to know as, sorry, magical alphabets. Get rid of this stuff. Just saying, get rid of it. The seals are things that are brought forth by the spirits to help you understand your sorcery. You can draw up the seals of a specific deity, spirit, because that's how you channel them. That's how you go beyond the veil. Going beyond the veil doesn't mean you die and go into the spiritual realm. Although I do concur that the one thing that all practitioners have in common is we bow to death. Okay? So, number one, the seals, summon them. The circles, the triangle of evocation. These are tools that we use. The chalice, the offering bowl, the burn pot or cauldron, the athame, sword, all used for various different tasks. The chanting. You really want to be in a position where you're relaxed but not slumbering. So when you do this, get into a position where you're either sitting in a chair, sitting Indian style, or laying on a bed. Think of it as the same way as trying to astral project. Same exact state. You want to be relaxed, but you don't want to go overboard, because if you fall into that overboard section, it's not going to work out for you. So look at what you're doing and get rid of those crutches, those proverbial chairs. Stairs could be good too. You can set your altar up on a stairway that you don't use. Same exact thing. However, my advice personally is if you're going to get into any form of rituals, I would highly recommend meditation before and after. For an example, yesterday, I spent most of yesterday in my altar room, my ritual chamber. Only time I came out was to use the restroom and to get something to eat. Rest of the time I was right in there. And it was interesting because of the fact that I was sitting in the circle. It was very intense. I had candles going all around me. Incense was filling up the room. I was chanting, calling the gods. And then I put down the triangle and I connected it to the circle. And it wasn't just a triangle, it was a double triangle outlining itself, so both points connected to the circle. And it was interesting because as soon as I did that, I had three candles at all 3 points of that triangle. And as I was chanting, as I was calling on the gods, the deities, and the spirits that I'm working with, I felt this overwhelming heat as though flames were embracing me. I haven't felt that in a while, a long while. But it wasn't just the heat. There was no flames. It was just that overwhelming heat. Like black smoke or the heat from a volcano surrounds you. You're fully dressed in your altar getup. You're meditating, you're chanting, and you see this blackness. You start seeing symbols, you start seeing spirits because you're fully relaxed, but yet at the same time, you're completely aware. You're aware of what's going on around you. And right there is when it starts. You're not paying attention to it because you, as the practitioner, has become stagnant. You're focusing more on what you're doing rather than what's going on around you, what's going on within that circle in that triangle of evocation. You could be listening outside. You could be hearing the alarms from an elevator. Somebody walks in and out. You can hear the cats or your dog running around. You can hear all the little gizmos around your apartment just bing, 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 bing. Those are just obstacles. But you're not focusing upon what's going on right there, where you are. It may look awesome the way it's lit up. You got your altar table and you're on the floor. You're kneeling down, begging. You're not begging, but you're offering yourself for that death. You're offering yourself as a sacrifice, a willing vessel for the spirits. And you, like I said, you start feeling this heat rising from the center of that circle like it's a funnel around you, but you're not really paying attention to that. But when you do pay attention to that, you start wondering, where's that coming from? What is that? How do I deal with this? I mean, let's face it, it's something you've never experienced before, right? Well, what if I told you that that's natural, but you focus on what's going on there? You continue on doing what you're supposed to be doing through ritual, and you sit there, kneeling, or you do what you need to do. You bow and you pray. That Angelus prayer, 11th century type prayer. It's hardship prayer, hardcore prayer, and you're focused. You're chanting. You're got your eyes closed, and you're chanting, and you're standing up, and you're going back down. If you've ever seen how the Muslims do it, you'd understand what I'm talking about. But it's very interesting and it's intense because you're so focused on the right and what you're doing. Then when it dawns on you that something's transpiring within that circle where you are, a lot of people would just get up and run out. Very few would just sit there, would continue on to see where it goes, what would transpire, what would happen. You see, this is the old school way of practicing black magic. Any form of sorcery, from necromancy to shamanism to what is now known as paganism and Wicca. Even the African traditions have some form of prayer using the Loa, the saints, to achieve their aims, their goals. And it's ironic because when you start feeling that change, that alchemy going on within that circle, you know the spirits are there. You know that whoever you have been calling is coming forth. It's not the way you like. I mean, all of us would love to just sit there and hear the words coming out of their mouths, to be able to visually see them. But unfortunately, not every time you get to do that. A lot of time when you are in ritual, you feel that current. You feel the current around you reaching out with that hellfire, that smokeless flame taking hold of you. That is communication. You know that they've acknowledged you, but it's up to you as the practitioner to do with it as you please. You see, you can either go forth, continuing to grow stronger within that current, meaning get rid of that chair. Get rid of your chair because ego gets in the way. The id gets in the way. That's why I always recommend, if you're going to do any form of sorcery, blindfold yourself. Get rid of that proverbial sense that you use the most because it will open up other avenues for you. It will open up your other senses and help you to become more acquainted with that current. It will help you to join that current more. And when you do, it'll help you move up the ranks eventually. People start taking notice that something's different about you. Your karma, your karma, you're more dead, more exhausted than usual. It'll show around the eyes. It will show around a lot of different areas because you've been spending so much time in that ritual chamber. You see what I mean? I've been in there all day today as well. I've been focusing on yesterday and what I experienced in the chamber, wanting more, desiring more, wanting to delve further into the system that I'm working with. So today I didn't put those candles in that triangle. No. Today I just put on my ritual getup, lit the incense, lit the candles, started chanting and fighting the spirits and those that I'm working with back into my ritual chamber, letting them come in at their own discretion. I opened it up to them, my sanctuary, wanting to let them know that you have free reign here. Let us work together for your aims and mine. Let us work together. Again, I was on my knees with my arms out to my sides, just praying. And I knelt down to where the triangle of evocation is, connected to the circle. And I started praying with my eyes closed, you know, the hands right here, palm to palm, chanting, chanting, and chanting. It's ironic just how much effort it takes to sit there and know you have the self motivation to sit there and continue the repetition through commitment and dedication to these spirits to prove your worth to them, especially when you realize where you want to be and what you want to do. And today, I found it odd because they showed me something. Right now, I'm not sure what it means. I know a lot of systems refer to it as a war going on between good and evil, light and dark, the four soul types, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of systems out there. But here's the kicker. This came through in a candlelight setting with a Catholic priest standing there, running. And then a man with a pitchfork, not a pitchfork, but one of those pikes or whatever you want to call it, sticks with the fire. I'll call it a log. Suddenly appearing in a white poofy type shirt, brown trousers. He was a white guy. Had weird hair, kind of curly, short. The clergyman, dressed in black, white collar, typical Catholics, especially those from the Vatican, or that you would see in a chapel, dressed head to toe in black with the little white collar. But this was different. I didn't hear anything. I didn't feel anything. No, this was just like a inactive little slide. Just appeared. One, then the other, and then both. You just get the sense that something's coming. Something's happened. Something I felt like this was something that happened in the past. Not sure to what extent, but through meditation and hard work, by getting rid of that chair, you're able to do more. It's like being out on the trails. Go out into the woods, find the rocky terrain if you have any around you, and you set up shop around them, or you can build them. That's up to you, but it's there. It's not going to be easy. It's something you got to prostrate yourself in. That means laying face down, praying for all your worth to your deity, demon, jinn, Lua, Ugan, Orisha. Doesn't matter. Even the old pagan gods, Zeus, Hera, maybe Ra, Isis, Osiris, Anubis, Hera, not Hera, but Set. Either way, going into Slavic traditions, you know, you got all kinds of immortals out there going beyond death. But when you see an image like that through your hard work and your dedication, they're showing you something because you've removed that proverbial chair, that stagnation. For years, I've simply just done ministry. I've listened to people, but I hadn't been practicing much. Now I've put the ministry aside and delved back into the practices. And here I am, just out of 3 days, 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and now Saturday, doing rituals, doing prayer, worshiping. And here I am, the second day, the second of 3 days, gotten some kind of reply from those that I've been worshiping. And it's amazing to see. Hey, brother, how you doing today? So, a lot of us tend to get slack in our studies, in our practices. So you really want to take that chair and just out the window or out the door. Either way is fine. It depends on how much money you want to put into your apartment or house. Just saying. But my point is this: get rid of that proverbial chair. It's holding you back. A lot of people today, when they get into the occult, first thing they do, occultism type movies. Oh, I can be a witch. I can be a warlock. I can be a sorcerer. No, you can't. You want to believe the lies of Hollywood? That's your choice. You want to believe the lies of the government? That's your choice. You want to believe that the church and state is separate? That's your choice. Because it's not. Not everything is right up in the open. You cannot study and practice it without practicing. Just like you can't practice witchcraft without studying the past. Why did these tools work? What symbols or seals need to be put in place for them to work and for you to transgress the planes of existence, the dimensions, and associate with gods and demons and all these other ancient ones, long forgotten? I want you to think about that real fast. What is it that you're doing that is hindering you? What is it that's hindering you from progressing, from evolving? Only then can you, as a practitioner, understand this stuff is toxic to what I'm doing. So many different traditions says that you cannot serve two masters. If you're serving the church and serving the devil at the same time, you're not going to get any results. You got to make a choice. Just like, well, I'm going to put off until tomorrow what I should be doing today. I get this from my better half, and then she wonders why she's failing a lot of things. Now, why did my license get suspended? Or why am I failing in my studies for school? Why do I keep getting fired from my jobs? Well, what are you doing that is hindering you? What is it that's blocking you from succeeding? Could it be that you just have a boss that's a douche? you know, a lot of people have left this latest job and they've said that this particular boss was a douche. One of those double hypocritical individuals. So I mean, even I've heard of this stuff from passing individuals, but it could simply be that it's you, foot and mouth, perhaps, or you're tripping yourself up. Perhaps you're not doing something correctly and you have to overlook that. Either way, you got to get rid of that proverbial chair. Otherwise, you will not succeed in any form of magic. The best thing I did was got rid of the chair from my altar room. I got too laxed in it. Some of the time, I even found myself napping in it. So it's gone. Now, I literally kneel down in the circle instead of having the chair in the circle with me on it as being a throne. Now, got rid of that. Went back to the old way. Me kneeling in that circle. Me bowing to these spirits. Showing humbleism. Worshipping them through religious type prayer. And most importantly, not only invoking them, but evoking them, inviting them in, giving them offerings. And within 3 days, I've seen a little bit of change. I've seen a little bit of benefits just from 3 days of this. My better half hates it because she'd rather have me out here going in town and doing chores around the house and, you know, going shopping with her and whatever. But my point, spending time with our son and all that stuff. But you know what? As a sorcerer, we don't get to have our cake and eat it too, a lot of times. You got to find out what matters to you, and everything else has got to go. I have two things that matter to me. Only two things. And no, I'm not going to tell you. My point is this: figure that out, and everything else can go bye bye. All right? Have a good one.